right? Then it's like, okay, well now I'm not. Basically, the human brain can create something much scarier in itself, much scarier for the person who's watching, if they don't know what is being what is being scary on screen. So if they don't show all the monster, then the person watching can create something much scarier, basically. But so this movie does very well with that. It doesn't show a lot of what happened. Basically, the whole movie kind of refers to an incident, and that's not really a spoiler. If you watch even like 2 minutes of the movie, you'll understand what I'm talking about. Because something happened, and so they constantly refer to that. The whole movie is talking. It's like a documentary or so. And also, I did the research too on this movie, and it costed about $25,000 to make the movie. That was the budget. And so I think it was also made by some people on YouTube, and it actually became an actual movie. So it's really cool. Like they really put their heart into it, and it shows. It's a really creepy movie. If you want to skip to the end now to hear kind of what my full consensus is without hearing any spoilers and specific scenes and stuff like that, by all means, just check on the chapters in the video and it should take you right there. But now I'm going to talk about the actual spoilers of the movie. Now, I was thinking, because for the short films, things that we do on this channel for Fear Gauge, I usually kind of explain the whole chronological timeline of events and how the story plays out and stuff like that, and that works for like a 10 minute video. But for an entire movie that's like almost 2 hours long, I think I'll just give you a quick summary, and then I'll start talking about what I actually thought was scary in the movie. So basically, the summary of the movie is 5 years after this big incident, which the big incident they considered a malfunction in the haunted house, which you'll find out later was unexplainable. The malfunction is the best way to describe it. Basically, a documentary crew goes in to kind of investigate what really happened, because it was really really hush-hush. So that's basically the summary. Now I'm going to talk about what I actually thought was scary about the film. So, for one, I kind of mentioned it in the non-spoiler section, where they kind of show you without telling, but they also, in this film, they tell you a lot and show you very little, but I think they did it very effectively. I'll talk a little bit about that later, because it has two sides, like a double-edged sword, so it's like, it does things right, but it also kind of takes away from it a little bit. It's kind of nice, but the setting, I think it's called Abaddon, New York, I think is where it takes place, which is kind of cute, because Abaddon is like me. When I looked it up, I knew the meaning roughly in my head, but when I looked it up, it meant the underworld of lost souls, or destruction and doom, basically like a bottomless pit, kind of close to what we conceive hell as. So I thought that was kind of cute that they open this hell house in an Abaddon, New York. Like, that's kind of cool. What I also liked about the film was that the characters were extremely believable. Now, in some horror movies where it's like, I think I talked about this 2 episodes ago or something like that, where you have like the cast of the horror movie, they're getting chased by the killer, and it's like, oh no, where should we go? And there's like a car that's running with gas and everything, and then there's like a path with like chainsaws and spikes and stuff like that, and they're like, let's go this way, and they run in the chainsaws and stuff like that. Like, they make dumb decisions and stuff like that. And so I feel like if the characters make dumb decisions like that, that doesn't connect very well to the people watching, because the people watching are like, why would you do that? Like, what is wrong with you? So I like that the characters were completely believable. They were basically like, I felt like I was in the movie. I was in character, listening to these people joke around and stuff like that. Because again, it is also found footage, so it seems like you're literally just in the room with them, as they're experiencing this, which adds to the freakiness just a little bit. I liked that. So I had kind of talked about how they tell versus show. And like they talk about, it's weird because they show you the footage alongside the documentary people speaking, and basically the documentary people are saying, in this incident that occurs, there's all 4 of these guys got mangled or something, like we don't know what happened to them and stuff like that. So you're watching the footage and you're like, how did these guys who are having fun and setting up this haunted house and like chilling out, hanging out, messing with each other, how did these guys end up like eviscerated, like demolished, whatever, otherworldly, removed? So that's kind of on the back of your mind. But I also like that they kind of, this movie kind of leaves a lingering chill with it, because it's like, now you're gonna think about because everybody goes to haunted houses. It's a part of Halloween. There's like 10 in everywhere that I've lived. There's been like 10 within a nice vicinity to it. So everybody goes to haunted houses. So the fact that this happened at a haunted house makes you think like, oh shit, well, now I gotta be worried about where I go for a haunted house, you know, that sort of thing. I like that lingering chill. So now, like, after watching that movie the first time, I don't think I've ever looked at haunted houses the same way. They're even, honestly, if you've never been creeped out by one, maybe you should watch it so that you're creeped out by them now. I put a note while I was watching the movie. It seemed like a lot of the people who like saw what happened, I said it, like the way people described this incident, it seems like they stared into the eyes of Cthulhu and saw infinite hellscapes based on what they saw, which later on in the film it does seem like they actually saw something awful, which for those of you who have seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. But the very end, where they actually show kind of a glimpse of what was happening in the incident, you're like, I really didn't like the freaky clown dude that just kept teleporting around. That was unsettling. It's also weird because it's like they brought the props into the haunted house, and so having one of their freaky ass props now teleporting around and having a mind of its own, that's weird. I do not like that. It's really good that they build tension, because this whole time you want to know what the incident is, right? And so they're kind of feeding you bits and pieces of what the incident is, and so it builds up to it. And then when you finally witness the incident, you're like, oh my god, like, wow, they were right. Those funny documentary people were right. What's weird too is that they're sleeping on site at the haunted hotel, and then freaky stuff starts happening to them there. Like, it's scary enough to go through a haunted house, but to see something up here, like there's a scene where they're messing with the strobes, and then he's got a head camera on, and you can see something in the strobe lights appear. To see something appear that they didn't put there is like so unnerving, but it scratches a little itch in the back of my head, and I really like that. I need more. There's a scene where Sarah is speaking backwards and she's like staring at the wall. Didn't like that. Had me tweaking. I was like, ew, don't touch her. It's kind of funny. The cameraman, the guy who keeps seeing all these incidents, was the smartest one. Every time he's like, guys, we gotta get out of here. He's like, I don't like this. We need to pack up and leave. I don't like this. And everybody's like, dude, just calm down. Like, we gotta finish this. We'd like the money. Come on. And then bro literally got ganked. They ran his shit. They ran his pockets, and he was gone. And they tried to call his phone, and it like screamed at him or something like that. And they're like, oh man, that's weird. He abandoned us before. That's so strange. Meanwhile, he got pulled into an abyss or something, never to be seen again. All I gotta say, Paul, my boy Paul, did not deserve that. I'm just saying. Okay, so there was some issues. So all these things that I've talked about are well and good. There are some things that took me away from the scariness. All right, so the showing versus telling. So I kind of made some points about how it's nice that they tell you about this incident and then they build up to it. However, they kind of just get a little too close to that thing where I know all of you have seen this, where it's a YouTube video, and honestly, if you might think my videos are this way, but it's a YouTube video, and they say, this is the craziest trick shot you've ever seen. This is the craziest thing you've ever seen. And then you click on the video, and it's like a 30-minute video. And then they're like, watch to the end to see this crazy thing. And then when you see it, you're just like, oh, okay, cool. But basically the entire movie is building up to this incident, and so they're just like, keep watching, keep watching. The movie's almost 2 hours long, so you have to, but it's given they do a good job of keeping it tension, like with tension and whatever, with the sequence of events, but it rides a little close to that, because I'm like sitting there like, okay, what is the incident? Like, you've shown me pictures, nobody wants to go down where the basement where it happened. I want to know more, and that sort of thing. It does a good job. It does a good job of kind of straying just enough away from that, but it got a little too close for me. I actually broke character. I'm not acting, obviously, but I broke like kind of immersion in the movie because like I said, I'm in there with them. It feels very intimate. Feels like you're with the characters. But there's a part in the documentary where they're like, yeah, the previous owner actually, or sorry, can't say that on YouTube, tied the ropes on the ceiling. It was very bad. And then they showed the picture of it, and I was like, and then as soon as I saw the picture, I was like, oh my god, they're just showing that. Like, oh damn, they just threw that at me. Like, there was no build up or anything. They just threw the picture at you. I'm like, damn, okay, just show me a picture of a dead guy, I guess. Because like all the other pictures they were talking about, they're like, well, 15 people died here, and they show pictures of like, there's like blood stains on the wall, or there's like a shoe on the ground. Like, there's nothing, no pure evidence. And then they're just like, oh, here's a dead guy, and you're like, oh Jesus, like make you spit out your drink kind of thing if you weren't expecting it. It was just jarring. It took me out of the movie a little bit. But there's some cheesy jump scares, but I think they're in good taste, jump scares. But overall, basically now I'm actually going to tell you what I think, how I rate these videos, or how I rate these scary things. It's a scale from 0 to 5. 0 being not scary at all, perfect for the kids, perfect for whatever, and 5 being nightmare fuel, you're not going to sleep, don't watch this movie, right? So I would say that this movie is like a 3. Stressful. It's a very stressful movie. This whole time you're thinking every corner plus the movie's also shot in like a maze of a house. So every corner turning, you might get jump scared, there's going to be an evil clown or something, who knows, and the whole time you're stressing out about what the movie was actually referencing about this incident thing that happened, and so you're just kind of stressing out the whole time. It's not super scary, so it's not like it's very watchable, like there might be there's some creepy parts, but it's not like you're basically, if you watch it with somebody who is totally not into scary things at all, they will be able to get through it with some encouragement from the stronger people who are watching it, right? But they're not gonna get up and walk out of the room, basically, that sort of thing. Which I assume later in Fear Gauge episodes, I will actually have to touch on movies like that. So anyway, this is a 3. This is a stressful movie, but it is not super scary, and it is also not a comedy. Thank you all for watching this episode of Fear Gauge. I will see you guys in the next one. Leave a comment if you guys want me to rate something else. So if you see a scary video on the internet or something like that you want me to watch, or if there's a scary movie that you want me to review, by all means, leave a comment. I always read them and I always respond, by all means. Other than that, I will see you guys in the next one. Deuces.